So you might have seen some extra letters at the end of the usual LGBT initials. That I stands for intersex, and a lot of people have never even heard of this term. Let's change that, shall we? Hey Internet, it's Wednesday, and that means it's time to learn about intersex. Winging this video proved to be a little bit harder than I thought, so I actually wrote down a little bit of a speech. So if it looks like I'm reading, it's because I am. So for this first video, I'm just going to define intersex, give some examples, and introduce some key topics relating to intersex. Most of the topics I introduce in this video I'll be covering in greater detail later. Let's start off by seeing what Wikipedia has to say. Intersex, in humans and other animals, is a variation in sex characteristics, including chromosomes, gonads, or genitals that do not allow an individual to be distinctly identified as male or female. Such variation may involve genital ambiguity and combinations of chromosomal genotype and sexual phenotype other than XY male or XX female. Well, that's a mouthful. Basically, what this means is we don't biologically fit society's traditional definitions of male and female, and instead of having entirely male or entirely female genetics and anatomy, we have a combination of both male and female. Though not everyone agrees as to what constitutes being intersexed. Some people say it only counts if there is ambiguous genitalia involved. Others say both testicular and ovarian tissue must be present. In spite of the semantics as to what defines intersex, there can be a wide variety of conditions that can be described as intersex, and within many of those, further differentiation. Each of these conditions results in a very different outcome in the genetic makeup and anatomy of an intersex person. A person may be born appearing completely female on the outside, but have XY chromosomes and internal testes. Or a person may be born in between, such as a girl born with a large clitoris or lack of a vagina opening, or a boy may be born with a small penis or scrotum that is divided so that it is formed more like labia. Variations go on and on. Even though intersex is a condition people are born with, it's not always picked up at birth. Sometimes it's only discovered when somebody reaches the age of puberty and nothing or something unexpected happens. Some people only discover they are intersexed when they have fertility problems as an adult. There are even some cases where people live their entire lives with intersex anatomy and die without anyone, including themselves, ever knowing. In cases such as mine, when a baby is identified as intersex at birth, it's generally due to the presence of ambiguous genitalia. This can be quite hard for parents to understand and deal with, and often what happens is doctors will pressure them into assigning a sex to their newborn baby as soon as possible. In most cases, we are assigned as female, and to quote an unsympathetic mutilator of intersex genitals, it's easier to dig a hole than to build a pole. After assignment, what then follows is surgeries to normalize our genitalia and remove any internal sex organs, as well as the introduction of hormonal therapy at what would normally be the onset of puberty. This is done in order to create more socially acceptable sex characteristics, under the guise of it being necessary for our health and happiness later in life. There is often very little to no psychological care afterwards, and parents are encouraged to lie to and keep the truth from their children. This practice is now considered to be highly unethical, as there can be no consent from the intersex individual being operated on, and we are often left to deal with both physical and emotional trauma that stems from these mostly unnecessary surgeries, as well as the stigma of being made to feel like there is something wrong with us and that we need to hide what we are. Luckily though, the world is changing. Activism and education, together with improved visibility, is helping change the way that intersex conditions are treated and resulting in better medical and psychological care, as well as improved legislation to protect the rights of intersex people. In April this year, Malta became the first country to outlaw non-consensual medical interventions, but this is still just the beginning of a long journey for equality and acceptance. Just like everybody else, we as intersex individuals can have various gender identities. While most will identify as either male or female, Some of us may identify as neither or even both genders. Some intersex individuals may be raised as a certain gender but then identify with another later in life and end up transitioning to the gender they feel more in line with, which means some people can be both intersex and transgender. I often wonder how many transgender people out there actually have an intersex condition and either don't know about it or keep it hidden for fear of being judged. Despite the lies that we are told as kids, that we are alone and there is nobody else like us, intersex is more common than you'd think. It is believed that 1 in every 1,500 to 2,000 babies born is born with an intersex condition. And this number is only going to rise due to the increasing amount of gender-bending chemicals and pollutants we are allowing to poison our delicate ecosystems and our bodies, forever changing the biology on our planet. So why is intersex so important? We are living proof that gender and sexuality exist on a spectrum. Everything the rest of our rainbow-clad brothers and sisters and gender non-conforming siblings from the LGBT+ community have been fighting to prove to the rest of the world can be done by simply getting the world to acknowledge the existence of intersex people. So please, don't let the I for intersex remain invisible. Let it be included. I know I'm just a tiny drop in this great big YouTube ocean, but I will be here every Wednesday with a new video on intersex, and if I can teach just one person about intersex, or help just one intersex person like me feel worthy, or convince just one couple to leave their newborn child intact, to love them the way they are, and be completely honest and open with them. If I can do any of those things, it means this silly little channel of mine is serving a purpose, one I dare not shrink from. So that ended up being a lot more serious than I expected it to be. I hope the reading isn't too distracting. If there's anything I said that you didn't understand, please feel free to ask in the comments below. I'll either be back next Wednesday with a new video on intersex, or maybe I'll even post a video between now and then. Who knows? I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys soon. If you're wanting to find out more about intersex, check out some of the links below.